Vladimir Putin is selling Russia to America. He offered rare earth and natural resources of Siberia to the American president. He also offered rare earth and natural resources of the land he's stolen from Ukraine, Donetsk, and Zaporizhia to American companies. He welcomes American investments now, American money. This is a very difficult situation for Putin. On one hand, for 3 years, he was selling Russian people the idea that Russia was not fighting Ukraine in this war, but instead fighting NATO and the USA. Hundreds of thousands of people have given their lives for this idea, and nothing has changed. Russians are still fighting Ukrainians, but Putin is buddying up with America openly in front of everybody. He's possibly setting himself up in a trap because Russian Z community, those spreaders of the Russian world, are outraged. Things are getting interested. Things are getting interesting. Howdy, howdy, everyone. My name is Konstantin, and welcome to Inside Russia, where usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. As usual, you will not find any propaganda, BS, or lies here. You will find truth, common sense, and logic. And some emotions too, because I'm a human being after all. Before I start today's message, I'd like to share something personal. It's become more difficult to create live streams lately. The amount of information has significantly increased. And this new information, it's just crazy. It requires much more analysis and thinking over than before. I have a feeling that we have entered a new stage of this phantasmagoria. Things are developing fast, and I have tons of news every single day. And I have this gut feeling that this is the beginning of the end, at least for Russia. Let's see if it turns out to be correct. Now, today's topic. First, a short brief of what happened recently. In the last 2 weeks, a few big surprises happened. Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin are in the talks about the future. I don't call it the peace talks on purpose. I think that these talks are of something bigger than peace in Ukraine. The first surprise is that Trump has started talking to Putin as to an equal partner. America had a clear upper hand over Russia before the negotiations started, and it could use its position to force Russia into a favorable deal to stop the war in Ukraine on Ukraine's conditions. When instead, the advantage is gone. Donald Trump has thrown out his trump card for some reason, and he's talking to Putin as an equal partner now. That's the fact. Though whether we like it or not, we're living with it now. And the second big surprise came from Vladimir Putin. He did something that no one expected him to do. He put Russia on sale. First, he offered America to get involved as Russia's foreign partner in the projects in rare earth industry. He also proposed launching an aluminum mining project in Krasnoyarsk province, which could involve American companies and American investments. American companies and American investments. On top of that, Putin has also offered the United States ownership rights to rare earth located on the territory of Donbass and Zaporizhia province, the territory that Russia has stolen from Ukraine. he is ready to welcome American capital back to Russia. In simple English language, it means Vladimir Putin is selling Russia out to the enemy which Russia is currently fighting in the war in Ukraine. Now, I don't want to discuss why Putin is selling out Russia. I don't want to discuss why Donald Trump is not using his Trump cards. No. Instead, I want to discuss the situation Putin is placing himself into and how other different Russians are reacting to his actions. Now, particularly Russia's Z community. Instead of you telling me, pardon me, well, instead of me telling you, I get mixed up in English sometimes. I would like to see what the Z community has to say. How about that? Before I jump there and I tell you, I want to thank you. Thank you for coming and giving me a chance today. Thank you so much. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for praying, for sending love, for sending messages. Thank you very much. This community has been a lifesaver. Thank you very much for everyone who keeps on standing with me against tyranny, with Ukraine, with good Russians. Thank you very much. Thank you for, well, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now, before I talk about Z people, I want you to understand the absurdity of this situation. Vladimir Putin orders to invade Ukraine with two goals, at least two public goals he gives us, Russian people. First is to denazify the country, and second is to demilitarize the country. Shortly after the start of the war, when it's clear then Russia is not succeeding, these goals, two goals, are dropped as if they never existed. Instead, a new narrative is given to the country and to the people. Russia is not at war with Ukraine now, but instead with NATO, and in particular with the United States of America, the leader of the NATO and the leader of the collective West. Russia is defending its resources, its sovereignty against the collective West led by the USA. Simultaneously, Russia is spreading the Russian world values, whatever they are, all over and trying to make the world multipolar by destroying the USA as the sole leader. That was the explanation of why Russia was fighting in Ukraine. For 3 years, this explanation was given Russian people. 3 years they were feeding that BS and lie. Everything was adjusted to this explanation, unfortunately. The school books were written. The teachers taught how to teach that in schools. The propaganda was making programs, movies, songs were written, events were held. With that one core idea in mind, the USA has overrun Ukraine, using it as a puppet to destroy Russia. The USA is bad, the USA is evil. The USA needs to be destroyed. And we can go as far as dropping a bomb on the USA if needed. Putin's propaganda has made the USA the axis of evil, the worst thing that exists in this world. And you know what? Russians believed. Russians were brainwashed by this idea. People were lied to many times, and sooner or later, these lies got to them. They were sent to die for this lie and fake idea. And they died. many sons, many mothers send their sons, many wives send their husbands, the kids send their daddies for this idea to defend the country from the enemy, from the USA. And the USA and NATO was unquestionably at war with Russia via its proxy, Ukraine. The entire country has been turned into that direction of the war with the USA to defend Russia's resources and sovereignty. Now, this is so you understand what was happening in Russia. And on February 24th, Vladimir Putin literally gave patriotic Russians an ice-cold shower. He offered Russia its resources, aluminum, rare earth, and pretty much whatever the Americans want to take, to America. To the very same dark force, the evil that, according to Putin, threatened the existence and the independence of Russia mere few days before. Putin has shown his true face for the first time to all Russians out there to see. By that action, he showed his true face. He certainly doesn't believe in all these tales he came up with for regular Russian people. On the contrary, he admires the USA. And he says the proof. Sergei Lavrov sent Putin's message to Donald Trump at a meeting with Marco Rubio in Saudi Arabia and El Riyadh when they met and discussed for the first time. Sergei Lavrov called America a great country that Russia needed to continue cooperating with. And that was an unfortunate mistake that the cooperation and communication, diplomatic communication, stopped. It was shouldn't have happened. So America is the great country, Putin says now. And that's what he really thinks, and I believe that. Imagine how those poor souls who believed Putin, who were led to believe about America being the axis of evil, satanic, and so forth, imagine how they are feeling now. I can only imagine, I don't know. Confused, betrayed. They're probably not feeling well, but guess what? That's the payback. Because what they have done to Ukraine, and they are responsible by keeping silent, by not doing anything, by allowing Putin and his gang to do what they've done, that puts responsibility onto all Russians, okay? And they're probably not feeling well now, but that's what you get. It's going to get much, much worse. They will realize more as time goes by, I'm sure of that. Just as Germans did back in the 40s. I'm pretty sure that they're going to have a very hard life now. Their living standard is dropping, and they'll be wondering why, and sooner or later they will find out the answers. So they are probably not feeling good not right now. But guess what? No one from the government, from Russian state, cares how they're feeling. Certainly not Putin. There's a category of people who are very vocal, and they are letting the whole world know how they're feeling. They're called военкоры, and I've spoken about them before. The war bloggers or the war reporters. Военкор is a member of Z community, a person who accompanies the armed forces during combat operations and covers their activities in the media, on informational resources, and or on social networks. Military personnel try to keep военкоры as close as possible to the front lines and as safe as possible in order to accurately describe, photograph, film what is happening and what's going on. This is how some of most significant vojenkory are reacting to Putin offering the USA a part of Russia. And I think what's even worse, a part of Ukraine. Well, including what they call the new territories. It's actually what they have been fighting for. For 3 years, they have been stationed there and they saw deaths, they saw what was happening, they saw the ugliness of the war, okay? And they saw the land that the Russian armed forces rolled on and conquered, okay? And they considered their land now, Russia's land. And Putin offers to give that land to Americans. Vojenkory there are quite a few of them, and they're pretty powerful. And their power lies in their people who read them. They usually operate in the Telegram channels. Telegram channel is a very, very convenient and widespread way of communication in Russia these days. Even I have a Telegram channel. It's called Inside Russia. There's a link down below. Go and check it out. That's where I make announcements for live streams. And if something happens, I usually put it on a Telegram channel. And it reaches people right immediately, instantly to their telephones. And sometimes I have some materials that I don't dare to put here on YouTube because YouTube bans a lot. And for good reasons and not such good reasons, but I can put anything on Telegram, and I don't have to be afraid to be banned from YouTube. So if I do that, I usually let people know in a live stream, and I direct where to go. Check out my Telegram channel. That's where the vojenkory are operating, okay? And there are quite a few of them. I'm just going to name you a few. Vernum Regnum, Лев Вершинин, Владислав Угольный, Дон РФ, РДС, РДСВ, Росгвардеец, ППО, 2 майора, Максим Калашников, 13 Tactical, and some others. Their subscribers are in millions. They exert a lot of influence on Russian people and onto the armed forces, because I'm pretty sure that all soldiers, all members of the armed forces are subscribed to vojenkory and their information, and they get information there. Vojenkory are not happy, and I'm putting it mildly. They are irate. Because Vladimir Putin is acting the very opposite now of the goals that he himself and his propaganda set long time ago, 3 years ago. He's acting if the old goals never were. The Z-patriots, the vojenkory, they are absolutely furious. Granted, they're pro-Kremlin, they're puppets, they are paid by the Kremlin, there are budgets, and they're paid from the federal budget. They follow in the Kremlin agenda. But still, most of them have a certain degree of independence, and most of them are at the front lines. Most of them have seen the war for 3 years now. Most have developed some kind of personal feeling or feelings and attachments to this whole disaster, and they probably have seen many people die in front of them. They have known of a lot of people who died or were killed. They know the ugliness and the truth of this war, and they're much more emotional than those propaganda boys and girls sitting in bright, warm, dry offices in Moscow drinking their lattes and raking in hundreds of thousands of rubles in salaries. The Z-patriots are different. Again, they have some sort of independence, and they are very important influencers. And you know what? They're not happy. I don't believe that they can stage a mutiny. They are just individuals. They don't have private armies like Prigozhin or Kadyrov did behind them. They are not part of the armed forces, no. They are just people with very large Telegram channels who tell their subscribers their opinions. And their opinions are not favorable to Putin right now. They have different degree of anger, and they all are showing their anger. And guess what? They are the sparkles. The situation in Russia is sparking. And they are most likely right now the biggest sparkles because they say things directly. They say things like, what the fudge is going on? What is Vladimir Putin doing? What? America a friend now? What about you telling us otherwise for so long, you personally, and so forth? There are sparks flying left and right. And who knows? Those sparks can ignite fire. And guess what? Vladimir Putin is very aware of that. And he's very afraid of that. He's so afraid. He knows that the Vayenkory and perhaps some other influences have become very powerful and very angry. He knows. He knows the water is boiling. He knows that these changes, very fast and extreme changes, can backfire him. He knows that. And he's called a meeting with all siloviki, those agencies of the government of Russian Federation who are armed and by law are given right to use weapons against Russian citizens. Siloviki, the law enforcement agencies, they're led by the KGB, of course, and Vladimir Putin clearly stated, it's all over Russian news, that he is seeking peace now. I know it sounds very ironic because he's the person who started the war. And he could have ended the war at any moment. He can end it now by simply calling the troops back to Russia. But somehow he hasn't done that, and to him, peace can be achieved differently, and he's looking for peace now openly. That's his position. And it's becoming peace at any cost. Okay, but that's completely different from what he was saying. And he also knows that. And he is warning the law enforcement agencies today at a large meeting. He warned them that there are forces in the West among Western elites, the American elites, and there are some forces who don't want peace, who want to keep on fighting. And they will do everything they can, all the resources they can, they will use to silence the peacemakers in Russia, to turn people's opinions against peace. It's him, it's the propaganda who were selling the war for 3 years. But now, just like that, literally overnight, he wants peace without any explanation. And then he warned the KGB to take care of those, he ordered to take care of those influencers, figures of influence who are acting on behalf of the Western elites against peace. And that smells Z-patriots and Vayenkory as well. Now, This has turned out to be a very big deal. Then this is one of those sudden changes that Russia is going through. Um, I'm going to talk more about it tomorrow in the Friday crazy news update because this news is absolutely crazy and it's scary too. Putin did make an order to the KGB and to the diplomats, and I will talk more about that in details tomorrow. But please know that a lot of Russians are not happy about what Putin is doing right now, about the negotiations, about the peace conditions. They are feeling the goals have not been reached and they're ready to fight, continue fighting. And like I've been saying, Vladimir Putin is between the rock and a hard place. He cannot win in Ukraine, not enough resources, the army is weak, and he also has a very hard time explaining why he needs peace. And then he cannot continue the war the way it is because Russian economy cannot hold it anymore. It's demising. There's no money left. So it looks like we're going to have another front line in Russia. Remember, I told many times, I believe that the victory for Ukraine will not come from the front lines, but will come from inside Russia. And I think we start seeing that happening. Thank you so very much. Before I invite everyone to the live stream chat, I'd like to remind you that news come out so fast and so plentiful now. I cannot cover them all. There are just too many. And it's, like I said, it's become much longer to prepare the live streams. So please pay attention to Patreon account where I what I call Formula 54 exists. I came up with that 9 news a day that I find important, that I find matter a lot in Russia. I identify those news with my daughter Oля. She's helping me. And we make them available to patrons of Inside Russia. So if you want to stay on top of things, if you want to know what's important, what's happening now, please become a patron and get access to 9 daily news, 54 news a week. Thank you. Check out the link down below. After the live stream ends, I'm going to place it down there. And now I am inviting everyone to join the live stream chat. I'm turning this on right now. Looks like it's on. Just give me a second here, please. I'm very glad to see 3,500 people. Fantastic result. Thank you for coming. Thank you, friends. Thank you again. Mm-hmm. Live stream chat is on. I usually have it in a separate pop-up chat window. It's much easier for me to see that way. And this is the most favorite part of any stream because I cherish the community involvement the most. That's what I do YouTube for the community, and that's what I pretty much live for. Thank you very much for coming. If you're here for the first time, I'd like to remind you that, well, I'd like to tell you that Inside Russia is the best community on YouTube, and it is the best because we have fantastic team of mods. They are Lorna, Mami K, Bob S, Harry Potnin, Amir Fazat, and Dirk. Thank you, friends, for coming. Keep on coming every day, and thank you for making this community safe and pleasant for everyone. Before I start, I would like to remind everyone No US politics. It's not the place to speak of American president, previous American president, argue, fight. Please don't do that. Um, the mods are watching closely, and let's talk of Russia. And if you have any questions, I would love to answer them. Thank you. The usual suspects, thank you for coming. And as usual, if you want to hear, if you want me to see your message easier, please put it in all caps. Put inside Russia after @ so it gets highlighted in orange, in large orange box, just like Harry Potter did. And I'm seeing his message clearly. Thank you, Harry. Thank you, friends. So I'll be looking for messages highlighted in orange and in caps. And Baker Stock, howdy. Andrew from South Africa, hello. Sam the Legend K. Fresh from Sana, Kermo from Finland. Sana is one thing I miss about Russia. Banya, we used to go to sauna every weekend with my friends as a tradition. Unfortunately, culturally, it's not a tradition in Uzbekistan. People don't go to saunas here. Thomas Elliott from Scotland, hello. Thank you, friend. You've been a great part of Inside Russia. I appreciate your comments after every live stream. Thank you so very much. Keith from Hawaii. Nice and warm there, I bet. John McLean, howdy. Hopeful as well. Donna Schaffer, things are crazy. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Aaronka, good to see you. SVR, howdy. A house divided cannot stand. Yes, you are right. Russia's been a divided house since the start of the war. You cannot start an unjust war and be united. You just cannot do that. It's just a matter of time when you fall. Well, Alu, in a previous stream, that when the USSR dissolved, the government gold reserve gold reserve disappeared. I hear that Russia is missing gold. That's a very good question, and that's a long answer. Okay, but that's a very interesting one. Now, I have said a couple times, if you, those of you who come here regularly, you probably remember. It's called, in Russia, it's called the gold of the Communist Party. And yes, it did disappear. It disappeared in the summer and early fall of 1991. And in charge of the gold that belonged to the Communist Party. So the Communist Party of the USSR was a very interesting organization. It owned property. Yeah, it wasn't people, it was the party, and owned lots of assets, owned lots of building, well, real estate all over the Soviet Union, and it owned 1,200 metric ton of gold. Okay, and all of a sudden it disappeared. After they did an audit in late 91, they only found, I think, 82 or 78 tons of gold. The government agency in charge of the Communist Party gold was Управление администрацией делами Коммунистической партии. In English, that's Department of Asset Control of the Communist Party. Its head, Kruchina, unfortunately fell out of the window 2 days after the coup, after the USSR fell apart. And then within a few short weeks, perhaps days, I don't remember, more than 80 employees of the department fell out of windows, unfortunately. And, they knew who took the gold, but they fell out of the window, all of them. So I think that the very similar process when Russia will start breaking up, if it starts breaking up, you got to understand this thing. If the United States all of a sudden decides to help Russia, decides to lift up the sanctions, decides to provide Russia financial aid, perhaps, decides to allow Russian banks and Russia's central bank to borrow in the world markets, financial markets, then Russia will not fall. Russia will stand. If that happens, I don't know what the hell is going on now. So I'm just telling you, keep that in mind. But if the United States does not help, the sanctions are not lifted, then Russia will fall. And when it starts falling, I guarantee there will be a lot of theft. And a lot of people will be falling out of windows. Because the dead ones don't speak. Answering your questions. Your question, SVR. Thank you. Dana Blood, is Putin making moves that the Z-patriots approve of? Or did Putin pull the rug from under them? Right now, he's more of pulling the rug from under them. He's not making any moves that they approve, as far as I know. But then it's been a few days of insanity, okay? From being America the axis of evil, now it's a great country and openly, and it's our partner, and we should be friends and all of that. And, please come take our land and invest. And American companies come and work with us. We want to be partners with you now. It's not the evil West, NATO, Satanists, remember all of those things. No. So the head, I think that the earth is spinning around them and the rug is being pulled out from under them. David Porter, howdy friend. Very good to see you. We keep on praying for you and everyone in Chernovtsi. Thank you for coming. I don't see any chance of peace. Very depressing, in my humble opinion. David, don't lose hope. I know it's hard. I don't know what the hell is going on now. What I know is something's going to happen soon, because they just so many events and they unfold so fast. One thing I think of, just this thing. Russia cannot move further into Ukraine. Russian army is exhausted, and Russia doesn't have any money. That's the fact. Again, folks, please, if you join the live stream chat a little later, please, if you want to be heard and seen, please put your message in caps and put inside Russia after @ so it gets highlighted in a large orange box. Much easier for me to see. And if I miss your question, please keep on posting it. Sooner or later, I'll get to it. Ron Gravel, is Russia in hyperinflation yet? Let me sort these things out. Hyperinflation. No. Well, on the edge. It's definitely a galloping inflation. Galloping inflation is double digits. I forgot, either 10 or 20%. 40% and up, that's galloping inflation. In Russia right now, official inflation is about 14% for 2025 expected, based on the performance of these 2 months. It's bad. It's it's getting out of control, and obviously that's what I've been saying about all these years. The information for last year is definitely cooked books, 9.52%. under 10%. It is not true, and I can prove it. They simply did not include the inflation of the last week, which was astronomical of the year. Okay, and that would have been over 10%. And 10%, I think 10% is galloping inflation. So it's galloping now, officially, and unofficial information. Different experts were giving their estimates and they're giving their calculations on the inflation, 38%. That is right there. That is on the edge of hyperinflation. In a couple months, we will see hyperinflation. Lorna, good to see you. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Tim Mofas. No, I'm sorry. Mutafis. Do you think U.S. back channels with Russia are not going well? Therefore, more support for Ukraine? Seems like it. I get different news, and sometimes they're contradictory, and they're just so fast. They like overlaps one another. I'm not even going to analyze them because they just change too fast. I'm just watching right now, monitoring. Okay, as soon as I start understanding something, I will definitely share my opinion with you. But right now, it's not clear whether the negotiations are working or not. It's happening. What crazy times we're in, absolutely unbelievable. Armed, begging, I keep on repeating that over and over and over again. I cannot believe what's happening around me. I feel like the world is spinning around me. And of course, I discussed it with my wife personally, and she's taking it harder than I am. Okay? She's much more emotional person. And what I suggested we do, me and her, okay, we share the very same values. Our values are God, family, hard work, and freedom. That's why we left Russia. That's why my wife has followed me. And we have agreed upon this. No matter what happens around us in Russia, in the United States, in Uzbekistan, anywhere, we have each other, we have our kids, we have the family. We still stand firm on our feet on this ground, and inside our circle where this rule holds, God, family, hard work, and freedom, inside, that's what we stand on. Everything else can spin around us and is spinning, and if we start spinning with it, we'll go crazy. So we're standing on our values and try and do the best we can. Click all night. Howdy, good to see you in the live stream. Please come more often. Jodes Reims, hello. Steffi, Zweit, Konto, hello. Hello. Okay, I already answered your question. Grace, well, I'm very sorry that you're still sick. We keep on praying for you to get better, dear Grace. Thank you. Please get better soon. Nanette McGregor, are they going to rewrite all Russian school books again now that they suddenly are friends with the USA? Oh, there's no question about that. There is not one single question about that I have. They will, and they will soon, and they will fast. These people have no values. They have orders, and they follow orders. And depending on how well they follow orders, they're fed. And it's sickening. It's I want to throw up when I think about that. Karen from Hertfordshire, thank you very much for coming. These things are so difficult for me to say. Hertfordshire, Hertfordshire. Breaking my tongue. Hertfordshire. I can say New Hampshire, New Hampshire. Deborah, it's interesting that the Z-patriots are going to be on the chopping block. I wanted to say this. If you want to see for yourself, go find their Telegram channels. I gave you the names in the live stream and see for yourself what they write. It's all in Russian. They all have Telegram channels, messages every day. They're basically bloggers, Telegram bloggers. Very important bloggers, but you can easily translate into English. Zach Costa, how has the police in Soviet and Russia changed, if at all, during 80s and 90s and 2000s, 10s and 20s? How did the police change? Now, when the USSR fell apart, the police kind of disappeared. It was still there, but it didn't do much. It was not expected of it to do much, and it was underfinanced. So the cops were on their own, and you couldn't get protection from them. It was like that for 10 years. And then when Putin started building his vertical power, he used the KGB and the cops as the foundation. He started giving cops more money. Instead, they started following their orders. So now they're back to what they used to be in the USSR. But the 90s were very cool. No one cared about the cops. You could literally, I was gonna say get away with murder. No, not that, obviously. But they would show up and they would arrest and investigate. But they never interfered. They never were a force to be reckoned with. Okay? And it was such a great feeling after knowing what the cops were in the USSR. Carlos Enrique, good to see you. Thank you. Whatever will be the outcome of peace agreement, will Putin have the gall to depict him as a victory? Yes, 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 yes. The rumors have it Vladimir Putin is preparing the victory speech at the parade on V-Day, May 9th, that is celebrated in Russia on May 9th. He's going to announce that Russia is victorious, he's promised, he's delivered everything he's promised. All is well and dandy. Albert Funk, are the donkeys and horses at the front lines the latest innovation from Bang Bang Education? Nah, not really. I think Bang Bang Education has nothing to do with it. It has more with planes and the Moscow Mule and so forth. That's with the army number two in the world. That is using horses and mules, and I saw it's using one camel. Yeah. So. George Rames, over 100 tons of gold missing. No, in the USSR, 1,000 ton. 1,000, not 100. They stole, I think, 1,200 ton or something like that. Now, it's really hard to say, but there are reports that the gold is diminishing in the Russian reserves. We'll see. I don't possess much information on that. I know for sure, you can mark my word, once things start actively falling apart, everything that can be stolen will be stolen. Craig Hughes, the stupidity, what he has achieved, except his own demise and collapsed military. You know, I don't think that's stupidity. I don't think that's stupid. I think we misunderstand Putin a lot. To him, everything he's done is a victory. True victory, because he has one goal: to hang on to his personal power, absolute power, as long as possible. Instead of get rid of 3 years ago after the start of the war, he's still in power. He has absolute power. He's achieved his goal, personal goal. Now he's back. He's not isolated anymore. He's talking to the United States of America, who's treating him as an equal partner. He's showing that he's victorious in Russia. He's full of energy, full of optimism, full of joy. He shows that every day. He's gained his strength back. He has Russia right here, in his hand, and he squeezed it so much that people are screaming now. So he's victorious. The country, that's not his goal. The people, who cares? He is for power, the absolute power. He's the czar, the emperor. He is to stay for as long as possible. Think he's victorious. Think he is not stupid. I think he has achieved all his goals. It's just evil. That's what they are. Montalbano, that the USA should leave NATO. Heard of it? I'm not sure you're saying they should or they shouldn't. Yeah, there are talks. Of course, I've heard of it. I personally think that NATO should kick the USA out. That's after what's been said and what's been done. And NATO is a group of many, many countries. And the United States is the biggest, yes, the strongest, yes, but that's not the only one. The other ones are, well, they also represent something, NATO is about values. It's not about the money. It's not about pragmatism. It's about values. That's why it was created. To defend, to right wrong. Okay? And if you don't go against these values, you probably shouldn't be a part of NATO. Coalition, now in caps. Okay, what about Solovyov? Is he already praising the USA on Russian TV? I'm going to be talking tomorrow about this very recent and very important phenomena in Russia. All propaganda is turning away from the war rhetoric. Before it was, we will kill all Americans. We will destroy Europe. We will drop an A-bomb onto England. England no more, because it's an island, We will go until the end. We will take Odessa. We will take Kiev and all of that. That was the narrative. Right now, they're going a different direction. We need peace. We are peaceful people. We are so tired of what's going on. Blood must not be shed, and this is exactly what I'm saying. Here come Z-patriots who are standing up and saying, wait a second, what the fudge are you talking about? You said this, and this was the goal that was not achieved, and so forth. And they start speaking about that. And then the KGB comes in and goes, oh, you're the enemies. You're acting on behalf of those Western elites who don't want peace. So Solovyov is all of a sudden turning to peace. He's a peaceful guy. He's for peace. He wants the war to end, to stop. So that's what Solovyov, everyone else, they don't want to take Kyiv anymore. They don't want to take Odessa. Well, like Simonyan said, she was asked this question. And then, of course, 2 years ago, she was, oh, we will do that no matter what, mark my words. And I promise you we'll take a Kiev, we'll take Odessa, we'll take the entire Ukraine. Now she laughs. She goes, oh, are you crazy? To the interviewer, she goes, of course, well, no, it's impossible. We will not take. We don't need Odessa. We will not take it. We will not take Kiev. No. The best is to freeze the war at the border where the front line is right now and so forth. And then the guy was saying, but you said before, and she, cut the interview and she said, wait, something like, you're a dreamer, something like that. That's what she said. And she started laughing. Arn Cyper, how does current Russian inflation compare to World War II inflation of Italy or Romania? Maybe even Germany or the British. The later are two extremely different extremes. That's why I ask. I'm sorry, I have no clue about what the inflation in after World War II was in Europe. I haven't even heard about that. I've never been an interest of mine, so I cannot. I think it's my speculation. Right now, it's much better in Russia because if your country is destroyed by the war, economy is not wholesome. It's not working as it's supposed to. So inflation is, you can't even judge a country by inflation. Not the country economy. It's just falling apart, so to speak. Baldo Bob said, "I'd like to move to Russia, but kind of old." Well, you know what? You should go and live in Russia. I think that's where you belong if you want to live there. A lot of people still live in Russia, 140 million of them, and there are some foreigners that move to Russia. Not too many, in hundreds, but still, they move to Russia. And if you want to live there, go ahead. Go ahead. Okay? Just don't sit here and do blah, blah, blah. I would love to live in Russia. No. Pack your bags and go and live there. Eternal regions, would the Russian people be open to Western democracy given the chance? That's a very philosophical question. Russian people need to grow to become, to have need for democracy. Democracy cannot be put onto you. You have to nurture and create it and have it grow inside of you. Only then you're educated and you fight for it. Okay, if the West opens the doors and gives, says, here, please come and be our part of the world. That happened in 91. Russia had the doors open for the democracy. See what happened to Russia? It's the Russian people. They don't have the desire. They need the czar. They need to be led. Okay, they don't want. They feel like nothing is up to them. They feel like the government is almighty, and they don't understand. It's them who have the power. It's them who can say, "Government, get the hell out of it now." It's us who are going to be running our lives. Once they stand up and say that, they don't need Western democracy. You see, democracy cannot be Western, Eastern, Southern, Northern. Democracy is democracy. Okay, once the Russians grow to feel that way, that's that's it. They will open the doors for Western democracy then, and the Western democracy would be willing to perhaps join them, but they need to change from the inside. Russia rocks. Well, the dude has, confused the streams, I think. um, I actually would love to speak to Z people, I really, this person says Russia rocks. Why? Why does it rock? Please tell exactly why Russia rocks. What is it exactly that you like about Russia? Friends, actually, believe it or not, but I'm in the middle of creating a video. I'm writing a script for that because that's not a live stream. That's something I would like to record in front of the camera, scripted. This video will, or perhaps it will be a live stream. If live stream, I usually don't script 100% live streams. I just put thumbnail bullets. Anyway, the idea is to take people like Baldo Bob. Well, obviously he's a Russian troll, right? And there are people like this fella throughout the Western countries. And I would like to make a stream to them or a video. And I would like to tell them how it is to be living in Russia. My experience growing up in the USSR and living in Putin's Russia. That's what I want to do. Nona Angelina, good evening, good Abend. Pamela, did you say yesterday you figured out why you are demonetized? Also, give Natasha a hug for me. I will hug Natasha. She's sleeping now. Yes, Pamela, I have figured out why I'm demonetized. I am hurt by this. Well, I can't say 100%, but most likely. I think I've been treated very unfairly. But this is life, I wanna make a video on Saturday about that, and I'm gonna release it after we're done at our usual Saturday evening live stream for patrons only. Everyone, every Saturday I host a special private live stream. I call it Saturday live stream virtual pub of Inside Russia. I treat this live stream as going out on Saturday evening, walking into a pub full of friends and just friendly conversing with them, talking, joking, and that's what we do every Saturday. Very small live streams, usually from 30 to 50 people, slow paced, and I answer personal questions. So if you want to take participation of that, please become patron of Inside Russia. It used to be for patrons and members, but there are no members any longer because I'm demonetized. And in the live stream, I will tell you why. And after that, I will release a video. Greg Hughes, you wonder how this plays out with the Chinese. Chinese are not liking that because Russia is sleeping from under their trying to sleep from under their control. They are slapping economic sanctions against Russia. Unofficial, they have stopped some companies from buying, from importing goods and products from China, and the number of companies is growing. They're slowing down traffic, railroad traffic specifically. In the recent 2 weeks, they have stopped taking most Russian, if not all, Russian bank transfers. The Chinese are mad because Chinese are not included. Okay, the United States is talking with Russia directly without help of China, and China is not liking it. Russian propaganda, like I said a week ago, that started turning on China, saying, wait a second, is China that kind of a friend, supplying Ukraine drones, swimming in blood of Russian soldiers? Why are we celebrating the New Year, Chinese New Year in Russia? Please tell us. And all of that. So the propaganda has been turning against China. Ron Gravel, what is the unemployment rate right now? I heard of 1.8%. Robert Harris, good to see you. Thank you for coming. This guy is annoying. Hal Porter is late. That's okay. You're never late, friend. Leitmotif, are old school books confiscated or can people keep them? Well, no one keeps old school books. They're not confiscated. You just at the end of the year you give them back because you don't buy them. They give you, although perhaps they buy books in schools now. I think they still don't buy. I will ask Natasha about Russian schools. Most likely, well, of course, some of the books will be kept by people, but most will just disappear. Jean May Millman, thank you so much. Thank you. How long will it before U.S. president announces tariffs-free trade with Russia? Robert Harris, you're asking me? I am watching in shock. I don't know. You got the New Hampshire accent right. They certainly pronounce it that way. Well, I lived next to New Hampshire. I worked in Portsmouth for a few months. We went to Portsmouth to shop tax-free from southern Maine. So I went to North Conway outlets quite a few times. So yes, I know how they speak. Well, they speak the same way the Mainers do. It's just they call their state New Hampshire. Jones Rames, how to solve your problem. 50% of your problems about 2 books. Steffi, what do you think will crumble first, the oil trade or Russian military? They both have crumbled. I mean, Russian military exists as oil trade exists, but oil trade is on the way down. So is Russian military. It's in ruins basically. So both will be there forever. It's just they're not going to be feeling well. Sam the Legend K, thank you for your important question. Kim M, thank you so much. Well, I am seeking by my values. If I don't, then I'll just die because I don't know how to live without values, with this what's going on. Craig Hughes, BRICS, will Russia have to leave as the US doesn't deal with the BRICS? Well, I tell you what, if Putin is given an ultimatum or given a requirement to ditch BRICS and Putin will benefit, he will ditch BRICS immediately. I am absolutely sure of that. And I think the BRICS countries know that too now. Ron Gravel declare victory and retreat. I don't know. It's a possibility. He will say, will denazify Ukraine, demilitarized, for example. But I don't know about retreating, but I know for sure he will declare victory. That's for sure. He's had enough. Even if the negotiations fail, he's had enough. Donald Trump has given him enough. No isolation anymore. Russia is not isolated. It's part of the community. The U.S. president speaks directly with Russian president. That is sign of attention, appreciation, sign of respect. Russia is back with a bang. It doesn't matter that how the negotiations will turn out. It's done. It's been done already. Help order education texts. Pollution of all mines is disgusting, but a special ring in hell is surely reserved for those who pollutes the mine and consequences of children. That's for sure. Cannot disagree with you. Friends, thank you so much. I would like to finish the stream. Time has come. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you for watching, liking, subscribing. By the way, if you haven't liked this message, it's the good time right now. I invite everyone, believers and non-believers, to invite a prayer. We finish every live stream with a prayer, and we're going to do that now. So please join me. I am asking you, do me a favor. Thank you. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, thank you so much for giving us this day. Thank you for putting food on our tables and placing roofs over our heads. Thank you for the love you have given us. Thank you for our families. Please give us the wisdom to keep the skies above our children's heads safe and peaceful. Give us wisdom to raise our children in a way that when they grow up and become adults, they will never fight in any wars. For now, please keep our children safe and healthy. Dear Lord, once again, I am asking for Ukraine to help the country, to be with the country, not to leave it, to stop the bloodshed. Please help every single person who has been affected by this terrible war. Answer their prayers. Make their wishes come true and send angels to help them recover and heal. Reach out and touch the hearts and souls of those who are responsible and capable of making the decision to stop the bloodshed. Have them make the decision to stop it. I am asking for my country, Russia. Please help it. Assemble your strongest angels with sharpest swords. Have Saint Michael in shining armor lead this heavenly army of yours down to this earth to get rid of the demons who have hijacked my country, who we know by their names and by their faces. Send them to hell. Please send angels to have good Russians to help them to manage and run the country in a way that it becomes peaceful, respecting, and loving. Please help all those who are traveling, send them safe travels, help those who are in danger, dire straits, send help. Please help those who are seeking for asylum of any kind, running away from evil. Help those who are stuck in transition. Help those who are helping Ukrainians, and help Ukrainians who are suffering from Russian attacks right now. Please keep them safe. Dear Lord, please help all single mothers and fathers who are struggling, trying to make ends meet, raising their children. Please send help, and help all those people in the world who are cold, sick, addicted, hungry, homeless, jobless, crying, betrayed, not feeling well about themselves, depressed, losing their faith, feeling alone in this world. Please warm them up with your love and your kindness. have them feel you right next to them, that you have not left them, abandoned them, that you're still with them, loving them. Please help everyone in need. Dear Lord, thank you so much for allowing us to come together and pray. As usual, I'm thanking you for everyone who is praying along with me right now, or simply people who are watching us pray. Please make everyone's wish come true and answer everyone's prayer. I would like to ask you to help some people who are in need. They are Ron Bozoid, Sandra Workman, Teresa, Karsten, Janice Burgess, Ann Larson and her daughter Hannah, Jeffrey S., his family, Katharina, Alex, Mark, Hank's sister, Tom W., J.R. McKim, Gabing with Gary, Lisa, Harry, Terry, John, Linda, Paula, Dennis, Jason, Susie, Tim, Dory, Linda, Dawn, Dave, Wayne, Taylor, John, Pamela, George, Darla, Meta, David Porter, and everyone who is in Chernovtsi, Ukraine, and his family. Life, Randolph, Grace, please send recovery. Dean Spooner and his church, Yelena, Natasha, Michael, Jake, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Svetlana, Sergey, Liz, Ron, Liz, Koshkin Dom, Mike, Petra, Joseph, Millie, Jodes, Rolf, Philip, Eileen, Highwayman, Denise Abbott, Renata, Janice, Derek, Jeff Gibson. Thank you very much, dear Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Friends, thank you for coming. Thank you for giving me a chance. I would like to remind you that you are absolutely awesome and you rock. Please come back for the part 2 of this live stream. I'm going to be talking about crazy news, and the biggest news, the most important news of tomorrow is Vladimir Putin is going after us, the influencers. So he's turning around the country, the propaganda, and he's going after us. So please come check it out. Thank you. And before you are awesome and you rock. I'm just reminding you that. And before I sign off, I invite everyone to say along with me as loud as you can the following. Carthago delenda est.